They didn't see it coming. Not your family, not your friends, not even you. But heaven saw it before you were born. You were marked for millions, not just in wealth, but in purpose, in influence, in divine power. And now, after all the waiting, all the wilderness, all the warfare, your season has begun. Not next year, not someday. Now, you're stepping into the moment you were chosen for. And nothing can stop it. For too long, you thought your delay was a denial. You looked around and wondered why everyone else was receiving, elevating, and celebrating while you were surviving. But the truth is, you weren't being punished. You were being prepared. The fire didn't destroy you. It refined you. The drought didn't kill your dream. It watered your faith. And the silence. That was the sacred space where God whispered the blueprint for your next move. This isn't about luck. This isn't about hustle. This is a divine appointment. A supernatural shift. God isn't just giving you millions. He's trusting you with them. Because He knows you've been faithful with little. You didn't curse Him when things got hard. You didn't give up when the door slammed in your face. You didn't sell your soul for a shortcut. You stood your ground. And now, the ground is shifting beneath your feet, making room for the blessings that have been stored up just for you. You've been chosen for this level, chosen for this impact, chosen to carry what most people couldn't handle. That's why the isolation happened. That's why you lost people. That's why your phone stopped ringing. God had to remove distractions because He didn't want anyone else taking credit for what He's about to do through you. He had to make sure it was just you and Him, because what's coming is so big, it can't be attached to the wrong hands. You're not crazy for dreaming big. You're not delusional for seeing millions when your bank account says otherwise. That's not ego. That's prophecy. That's the Holy Spirit showing you the preview of what's coming so you don't settle for less. Every idea, every vision, every late-night whisper that told you there's more, it was real. And now, that more is manifesting. The people who once laughed at your dreams will soon ask how you did it. But don't get bitter. Don't get proud. Stay humble, because this isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving God right. You are the fulfillment of a promise He made long before you knew how to pray. And everything that tried to stop you, from betrayal to bankruptcy, will now be used as evidence that His hand is on your life. Let's be clear, this isn't just about material wealth. The millions are coming, yes, but it's deeper than that. You're being positioned to fund movements, to free generations, to build what others said was impossible. You'll write the checks. You'll own the land. You'll create jobs. You'll bless widows and orphans, and ministries and nations. You're not just receiving money. You're receiving mantles, the weight of kingdom responsibility. And don't worry, God wouldn't elevate you if He hadn't already empowered you. You won't fold under the pressure. You won't fumble the opportunity. You were born for this. You've been trained for this in the trenches, in the tears, in the prayers nobody saw. And now, you'll move with grace, with wisdom, with unstoppable favor. There's a reason the attacks got heavier right before this moment. The enemy knew something was shifting. He saw the angels moving. He heard the heavens releasing. That's why the warfare increased, not because you were losing, but because you were winning. And now that the fog is lifting, now that the resistance is breaking, your clarity is returning. You're remembering who you are. You are the head, not the tail. You are above, not beneath. You are the lender, not the borrower. You are a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, and the wealth of the wicked is being transferred into your hands, not so you can boast, but so you can build. The days of just surviving are over. Now you thrive. This is the moment where ideas turn into income, where passion meets provision, where vision attracts resources. Don't be surprised when your inbox fills with unexpected offers, when doors open you didn't knock on, when people you've never met sow into your life. That's not coincidence. That's covenant. But don't let the blessing distract you from the assignment. Stay anchored in prayer. Stay rooted in the Word. Stay connected to your source. Because the higher God lifts you, the more you'll need His guidance. You're not just representing yourself. You're representing heaven. Every move you make echoes in eternity. The millions are coming because your mission requires it. Your calling demands it. There are books to write, platforms to build, people to reach, legacies to leave. You don't have time for small thinking anymore. You don't have space for doubt. You've crossed over. This is your wealthy place, not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. So walk like you already have it. Talk like it's already done. Move with the confidence of someone backed by the armies of heaven. You're not waiting for the miracle. You are the miracle. The one they said would never make it. The one they overlooked. The one they thought would stay broken. But God chose you. And now, the season has changed. The heavens are open. The oil is flowing. And your hands will never be empty again. You don't need to beg for what's already yours. The heavens have already approved what your heart is just now starting to believe. That whisper inside you, the one that keeps saying, "Get ready," is not your imagination. It's a divine signal. Your spirit is responding to the breakthrough that's already been released in the unseen realm. The wealth isn't on the way. It's already waiting for you to catch up in faith. There's a reason you felt so much tension lately. Your spirit is expanding beyond environments that can no longer hold you. The room is too small, the conversation too limited, the people around you too familiar with your past to respect your future. And that's okay. Don't try to force old relationships to understand new revelations. You're not leaving them behind. You're just rising where they can't follow. Millions don't just show up in your life when you're ready physically. They come when you're ready spiritually. God didn't let you get rich before now because He knew your heart needed protection. He was healing your identity, teaching you patience, strengthening your discernment. You had to learn how to say no to the wrong things before He could trust you with the right ones. Now, your no is pure, your yes is precise, and your hands are ready to receive without idolizing what's coming. The money is simply a tool, a vehicle. It will not define you. It will empower you to define the world around you. You'll feed communities. You'll sponsor spiritual awakenings. You'll be a silent miracle in people's lives, writing checks without ever needing recognition. Because chosen ones don't chase clout, they carry calling. And when God raises someone up like you, it's never for ego. It's always for impact. Some of the people who walked away from you did so because they couldn't recognize the version of you God was building. You were too quiet, too focused, too disciplined, too unwilling to fit into boxes just to make others feel comfortable. That's why they distanced themselves. But now, they'll watch in silence as God brings you into everything they never thought you'd touch. And still, no pride, only peace. Because chosen ones don't retaliate with revenge. They respond with elevation. Don't be surprised when you stop craving validation. That's a sign your season has shifted. What once excited you now feels small. That's growth. That's alignment. You're not just entering a season of millions. You're entering a season of maturity. You know what to steward, what to sow, what to ignore. You've become too aware of your value to waste energy on things beneath your assignment. And make no mistake, the warfare isn't over. In fact, some battles will intensify. But now you're different. Stronger, sharper, quieter in the flesh, louder in the spirit. You don't argue, you discern. You don't panic, you prophesy. You don't react, you respond with precision. Because chosen ones aren't just blessed, they're battle-tested. You've been through storms that would have destroyed others. But you're still here, stronger than ever. Your steps are ordered now. You're not just making moves. You're making mandated moves. Every conversation is strategic. Every connection is divine. You won't chase, you'll attract. You won't worry, you'll worship. And doors will swing open, not because you forced them, but because you finally stopped forcing anything that wasn't sent by God. You'll walk into rooms that once seemed unreachable, not because you network your way in, but because favor opened the door that hustle couldn't. That's the difference. Favor doesn't need permission. When God says it's your time, no man, no system, no gatekeeper can block what's flowing toward you. You've graduated from hoping it happens to knowing it must. And when you finally hold the millions in your hand, don't forget the moments you had nothing but faith. The nights you cried, the days you fasted, the prayers that felt unanswered. Those were the bricks beneath your foundation. You didn't skip the process. You endured it. That's why your blessing will last. Because what is built in private cannot be destroyed in public. The enemy underestimated you. He thought your breakdown would be the end. But God used your brokenness as the blueprint. What looked like defeat was design. What felt like rejection was redirection. And now you don't walk like someone looking for approval. You walk like someone who knows they've been approved by heaven. Millions don't change you. They reveal you. They expose what's already there. And God allowed the delay so He could fortify your character. Because a weak foundation would have crushed you under the weight of what's coming. But now you've been forged in fire. You can handle pressure. You can carry weight. You can wear the crown without it cracking your soul. You're not just chosen to have wealth. You're chosen to release it, to break cycles of poverty, to shift atmospheres wherever you go. People will walk into your presence and feel chains break off their minds. That's not charisma. That's anointing. That's what happens when chosen ones step into their true assignment. They become living answers to other people's silent prayers. So keep walking. Keep preparing. Keep moving like it's already yours. Because in the Spirit, it is. The delayed is over. The waiting room is closed. You're no longer just surviving. You're stepping into dominion, into rulership, into wealth that's not just for you, but for the generation after you. You're about to fund dreams, build legacies, and shift systems, because when God blesses a chosen one, the ripple never stops. You were never meant to blend in. That uneasy feeling you carried most of your life wasn't a flaw. It was a signal, a divine discomfort meant to keep you from settling into what wasn't designed for you. Even when you tried to force yourself into normal, you couldn't. The conversations felt shallow. The spaces felt tight. And no matter how much you achieved, something inside you whispered, "This isn't it." That was purpose tapping on your spirit, refusing to let you get comfortable with less than what heaven wrote about you. You see, chosen ones carry codes, spiritual blueprints not everyone can read. That's why you felt misunderstood. That's why you were overlooked, even when you were overqualified. It wasn't punishment, it was preservation. God was keeping you hidden until the right moment, until the right room, until the right stage. Because elevation without preparation is sabotage. But now, the time has arrived. The oil on your life is undeniable. The preparation is complete. You are about to be revealed, not for applause, but for assignment. You've walked through fire, but you didn't come out smelling like smoke. You came out refined. Your character was forged in seasons where no one clapped for you, where obedience looked like isolation, where growth felt like grief. But you didn't fold. You kept going. You stayed humble. You stayed kind. And now, heaven is responding with abundance, not just in your bank account, but in your peace, in your clarity, in your wisdom. This is why the millions are coming, because you can be trusted. You won't use the money to elevate your ego. You'll use it to expand the kingdom. You'll sponsor ideas that will outlive you. You'll pour into others the same way God poured into you during your dry seasons, because you remember what it felt like to lack, and now you'll make sure others never feel what you once did. Chosen ones don't chase influence. They embody impact, and that's what sets you apart. You're not trying to be famous. You're trying to be faithful. You're not seeking clout. You're seeking clarity. You don't want the spotlight unless it points people back to the source. That posture is what qualifies you for this next level. That humility is the reason God is trusting you with more. And yes, there will be noise. People will question your rise. They'll try to reduce your story to something they can understand. But don't waste energy explaining divine moves to unspiritual minds. What God is doing in your life is beyond human logic. You're about to experience blessings that don't make sense, favor that can't be traced, wealth that seems supernatural, because it is. This isn't just about money. It's about manifestation, about walking fully into everything God said was yours. But understand this, new levels bring new responsibility. And that's why your mindset had to shift before the money showed up. You had to release survival thinking. You had to stop shrinking your dreams to match your resources. Now, your faith is bold. Your prayers are strategic. Your decisions are intentional. You're no longer reacting to life. You're commanding it. With authority. With conviction. With divine confidence. You were chosen for this because you endured what others ran from. You confronted your shadow. You healed what you didn't cause. You gave even when you had nothing left to give. That endurance didn't go unnoticed in heaven. That perseverance is why the gates are opening now. The kind of wealth that's coming isn't just financial. It's generational. It will restore everything you lost and fund everything you're about to build. The silence of your past season wasn't punishment. It was consecration. God was stripping you of distraction, teaching you the difference between noise and instruction. He wanted you tuned into His frequency, not theirs. And now that your spirit is sharp and your ears are open, you'll hear strategy in the middle of storms. You'll see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because chosen ones don't walk by sight. They walk by revelation. You don't owe explanations. You owe obedience. This is the season where your fruit will speak louder than your words, where your results will preach louder than your critics. You won't have to convince anyone of what's on your life. They'll see it. They'll feel it. They'll know something's different, even if they can't define it. Because when God lifts someone, the evidence is undeniable. And you, chosen one, you're stepping into divine evidence, visible favor, tangible breakthrough, irrefutable success, not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. You got in position. You sacrificed. You obeyed. You didn't skip steps. You didn't cut corners. And now the reward is being released. Let this be your reminder. This isn't the peak. It's just the beginning. These millions are not your destination. They're the start of your kingdom assignment. Stay low. Stay surrendered. Stay hungry. Because the same God who blessed you can multiply it beyond your imagination. But only if you keep Him at the center. Only if you remember that it was never about you. It was always about what God wanted to do through you. Chosen ones aren't driven by status. They're driven by service. You'll change lives quietly. Heal people without laying hands. Uplift souls just by being present. Because your life will carry a frequency that reminds people of heaven. That's the real wealth. The ability to shift atmospheres without speaking a word. To walk into rooms and command peace. To be an answer without seeking attention. So walk like it's already yours. Pray like you've already received it. Think like a steward, not just a recipient. You're not lucky. You're trusted. You're not waiting. You're ready. And the gates of abundance are wide open, not because of luck, not because of hustle, but because of alignment. You finally said yes to what God always saw in you. This is your time. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is aligned. You're not stepping into money. You're stepping into mastery. You're not just getting paid. You're stepping into purpose. And with every step you take, know this, you were chosen for this. Your season of millions has already begun. There's a sound that breaks in the spirit before the breakthrough shows up in the physical. It's the sound of surrender. The sound of a chosen one finally letting go of control. When you released the timeline, when you stopped begging and started believing, heaven took notice. That's when things began to shift. Not because the world around you changed, but because your posture changed. You went from praying out of panic to praying with precision. You began to speak like it was already done. And the moment you did, your atmosphere started to obey your faith. This is what the world can't see. They look at you now and think you're just getting started. But they don't know you've been preparing in secret for years. You've battled demons nobody saw. You've passed tests nobody clapped for. You've been sowing seeds in silence while others were shouting in pride. And now that the harvest is beginning to show, people will assume it happened overnight. But heaven knows the truth. This moment was earned through every no one you respected, every fast you didn't post, every tear you wiped alone. You didn't just arrive. You were anointed for this. Chosen ones are built differently. You're not seduced by temporary highs. You're not impressed by shallow validation. Because when God builds you in the dark, you learn how to thrive without applause. You learn how to listen when it's quiet. You learn how to lead without needing to be seen. That's why your blessing is sustainable. Because it's not built on performance. It's built on presence. There were times when the enemy tried to break you with lack. He thought if he could touch your finances, he could steal your fire. But what he didn't know is you weren't driven by comfort. You were driven by calling. You were still faithful when the money was funny, still generous when you had barely enough. And now, the tables are turning. Not just in dollars, but in dignity. You're walking into rooms you used to pray about, having conversations you once dreamed of. But your heart is still pure. That's the secret. You didn't let the struggle harden you. You let it hone you. God doesn't promote perfection. He promotes purity. And in a world full of people faking the light, you were brave enough to become the light. You told the truth when it cost you. You walked away when it hurt. You forgave when it was unfair. That's the reason your hands are being filled now. Because you kept your heart clean when you could have gotten bitter. You stayed soft. You stayed surrendered. And now, abundance is finding you. Don't be surprised when doors open without effort, when opportunities chase you down, when resources appear before you even ask. This is what favor looks like. It's not earned. It's recognized. Heaven sees the assignment on your life and makes sure the provision meets you where you are. You don't have to chase anymore. You don't have to perform. You just have to walk. One step at a time. One act of obedience at a time. And everything connected to your name will begin to rise. There's a reason the enemy fought you so hard. He saw what was coming. He knew that if you ever healed, if you ever woke up to who you really are, if you ever embraced your identity, you would be unstoppable. And now, you're living in that reality. You've become everything he tried to convince you you'd never be. And that's why hell is nervous. Because when a chosen one wakes up, everything around them has to shift. People may not understand you, and that's okay. You weren't sent to be understood. You were sent to be effective. You weren't made for the crowd. You were made for the call. And sometimes that means walking alone. Sometimes it means letting go of what's familiar to step into what's divine. Don't mourn the friendships that couldn't come. Don't grieve the connections that fell away. They weren't rejection. They were redirection. God was removing the noise so you could hear your name being called. And it's being called loudly now. In rooms you haven't entered yet. In hearts you haven't touched yet. Your name is echoing because your time has come. The wealth is not a reward. It's a tool, a weapon, a spiritual resource to fulfill the very assignment that kept you up at night. You'll fund what others only dreamed of. You'll back ideas that change generations. You'll create safe spaces for others to heal because you remember what it felt like to bleed in silence. You're not just stepping into millions. You're stepping into movement, into legacy, into impact that outlasts you. You are the answer to a cry someone hasn't even made yet. You are the key to a door someone's been banging on in prayer. And the reason God had to prepare you so deeply is because what you're carrying is too holy to mishandle. Don't water yourself down in this season. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Your glow is not arrogance. It's evidence. Evidence of survival. Evidence of favor. Evidence of a God who honors those who remain faithful in the fire. You didn't come this far to dim now. You didn't walk through hell to whisper your story. Speak boldly. Move boldly. Give boldly. You were chosen for this, and every resource of heaven is backing you up. The overflow will feel unfamiliar at first. You'll question if you're ready. You'll wonder if it's too good to be true, but don't let the old version of you sabotage this new season. You're not the same person who started the journey. You've evolved. You've matured. You've outgrown survival and stepped into strategy. This wealth isn't random. It's recognition, a divine signal that the world is about to see what heaven already knew. Chosen one, you were never overlooked. You were being reserved, set aside for a release that couldn't be rushed. But now, the wait is over. The gates are open, and your feet are standing in places your prayers paved. Stay rooted, stay grateful, stay focused, because this is only the beginning of what God is about to do through you. There's a moment in every chosen one's life when you realize you didn't survive all of that just to live an average life. You didn't endure the crushing just to end up playing small. There was always something inside of you that whispered, more is coming. And now that whisper is turning into a roar. You can feel it, can't you? The atmosphere around you is shifting. Conversations are deeper. Doors are opening. Your own thoughts are aligning with higher vision. It's not imagination. It's confirmation. You're not crazy. You're calibrated. For so long, you thought something was wrong with you. Why am I so different? Why do I lose people so easily? Why can't I be content with just enough? But now you're starting to see, it wasn't a flaw, it was foresight. God was preparing you for more than you could understand back then. He was pruning, shaping, removing dead weight so that when the blessings came, they wouldn't crush you. Now, what used to confuse you is becoming crystal clear. Isolation had a purpose. Pain had a place. Delay had a design. And here you are, standing at the beginning of what you once believed was impossible. Not because you manipulated your way here. Not because you had the perfect plan. But because God's timing collided with your obedience. You surrendered when it didn't make sense. You let go when it hurt. You trusted when you were blind. That kind of faith moves mountains. And you've moved many. Some of them weren't even external. Some were the mountains within you. Fear, insecurity, doubt. But one by one, they've crumbled. And now you stand taller, lighter, clearer than ever before. This season isn't just about wealth. It's about worth. You're finally seeing yourself the way heaven always saw you. Not as a reject, not as someone too intense, too emotional, too deep, but as someone specifically designed for impact. You were made to carry heavy things, to speak to broken places, to walk in rooms and shift the atmosphere. You don't just have gifts, you are the gift. And now you're starting to live from that place. The millions that are being released into your life aren't just about comfort, they're about calling. You will no longer have to beg to build what's been burning in your spirit. No more crowdfunding your vision. No more hoping someone sees your worth. You'll have the resources to execute without compromise. You'll move without delay. You'll create from overflow, not scarcity. That's what this season is unlocking. Freedom. Freedom to dream again, to rest again, to love again without worrying about being drained. Chosen ones are being positioned right now for divine wealth transfers. And it's not happening through the normal channels. It's not through connections you had to chase or platforms you had to beg for. It's through favor that defies logic. Unexpected emails, sudden promotions, viral moments you didn't orchestrate, inheritances you didn't see coming, investments that multiply overnight. Because heaven has declared its time. You've been found faithful. And now the reward has been released. But this won't make you proud. It will make you more humble. Because deep down, you know this isn't about you. It's about what flows through you. Every dollar is an assignment. Every opportunity is a seed. You'll start to see money not as something to hoard, but something to steward. You'll shift from consumer to creator, from survivor to sender, from being the one who needed help to the one who writes the checks. And you'll do it quietly, righteously, without needing attention, just impact. That's the mark of a true chosen one. You don't need validation. You need vision. And yours is clearer than ever. The veil has been torn. The noise has faded. And you can hear God's voice again with precision. You know where to go, who to speak to, what to say yes to, and what to walk away from. No more confusion. No more emotional decisions. Wisdom is your portion now. And with wisdom comes wealth. The people who overlooked you are about to see you in places they never imagined. But you won't be petty. You'll be powerful. You won't clap back. You'll clap forward. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. But don't let their confusion distract you from your commission. You have no time to explain what God is doing in your life. Let the fruit speak. Let the results speak. Let the oil on your life do the talking. Because when heaven speaks for you, no defense is needed. There will be moments where you feel overwhelmed, not by stress, but by glory, by the realization that you made it, that what you prayed for is finally here, that what you used to only see in dreams is now your everyday reality. Take time to breathe it in. Don't rush past your miracles. Don't move so fast building the next thing that you forget to celebrate this thing. You deserve to enjoy it. You deserve to smile without guilt. You deserve to walk in abundance without apologizing for it. And when people ask you how it happened, you'll say something simple. God did it. Because He did. He chose you, not because you were the loudest or the most perfect, but because you were available. Because you had a heart that wouldn't give up. Because even when you wanted to quit, you kept showing up. That kind of spirit can't be denied. That kind of soul must be honored. And heaven is honoring you now, with visibility, with victory, and with volume. You're not just about to be blessed. You're about to become a blessing. On another level, in a way that changes bloodlines, in a way that breaks cycles, in a way that creates access for people you haven't even met yet. This isn't just about now. It's about next. It's about setting the stage for the future you prayed your kids would live in. You are the curse breaker, the trailblazer, the original. And because of your yes, millions will live different. The season of struggle was never punishment. It was preparation. And now you're being ushered into a season that reflects what you carried all along. The world is about to see who you really are. Not the watered-down version. Not the one who fit in. But the bold, chosen, favored one who stood the test, and now wears the crown. There's a reason your process took longer than others. It's because what's being built through you had to be unshakable. While others were chasing quick success, you were undergoing spiritual construction. God wasn't just setting up a blessing. He was setting a foundation. You weren't just being delayed. You were being developed. Every betrayal, every closed door, every lonely season, it was chiseling you into someone who couldn't be bought, broken, or distracted. That's why the weight of the blessing you're stepping into now won't crush you. It fits you. You've grown into this season, and the growth didn't come cheap. It cost you relationships, comfort, ego, and sometimes even your sanity. But it was worth it. Because now you don't need applause to feel valid. You don't need validation to feel valuable. You carry peace. You walk with fire. You've become a vessel that can hold both heaven's favor and earth's assignment. And because you didn't abandon the mission is now expanding. Doors are about to swing open so wide, you'll have to decide which ones to walk through first. And that's what elevation looks like for the chosen ones. Not confusion, but options. Not lack, but strategy. You won't be begging anymore. You'll be discerning. Because favor with God brings favor with man. You won't need to network like the world does. People will come looking for you, not for what you have, but for who you are. They'll sense the oil, the wisdom, the divine order in your life. You'll become the answer to prayers you never heard. That's the influence God is placing on your life. Subtle but undeniable, quiet but unstoppable. This is the moment you realize your pain wasn't random. Every tear had a timetable. Every loss had a launch hidden in it. You had to be stripped so you wouldn't confuse the source with the resource. So that when God gave you the millions, the spotlight, the success, you wouldn't forget who gave it. And you haven't. That's why more is coming. Because you know how to remain rooted in purpose even while rising in power. You know how to keep your posture right, even when the platform grows. The enemy thought the delay would discourage you. He thought making you broke would break you. But he underestimated your anointing. Because even without money, you had power. Even without support, you had strength. You prayed when no one listened. You served when no one clapped. You stayed when it was easier to quit. That's why what's coming isn't just a blessing. It's a reward. The kind that overtakes you. The kind that vindicates you. The kind that says, heaven saw it all. And now heaven is repaying you for it all. And when it happens, it'll be so divine. You'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't hustle. It was him. It'll be so supernatural. Even your enemies will have to say, that had to be God. They watched you suffer. Now they'll watch you soar. But your heart won't be bitter. It'll be better. Because you're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to prove God right. He chose well when he chose you. You didn't fold under pressure. You didn't curse the process. You praised through it. You endured. And now, it's harvest time. Harvest for your obedience. Harvest for your hidden tears. Harvest for the seeds you sowed when you had nothing but faith. God doesn't forget. He remembers every act of faithfulness. And he's a multiplier. What you gave in secret, he's about to reward in public. The same places you were ignored in, you'll now be celebrated in. The same people who doubted you will now try to connect with you, but you'll walk with grace. Because the chosen don't chase, they attract. They don't fight for a seat, they build tables. There's a royal spirit rising in you now. Not arrogance, but authority. You know who you are. You know whose you are. And you're not afraid to move like it. No more shrinking. No more second guessing. The anointing on your life demands boldness. And your next level will require a voice that doesn't apologize for existing. So speak, move, build, write, launch. Do it like someone who knows they're backed by heaven. Because you are. And once God backs you, no force on earth can block you. Some will call it overnight success, but they'll never see the years you spent in private preparation. The lonely nights, the silent battles, the invisible wounds. But you'll carry it all with grace. You won't even need to explain. Your peace will speak. Your fruit will testify. And your presence alone will shift atmospheres. That's the kind of glory that follows the chosen. You don't chase the light. You become it. And right now, that light is turning on inside you brighter than ever before. There's an urgency in your spirit because you can feel it. Everything is about to change. It won't be slow. It won't be small. It'll be sudden and significant. And when it happens, don't flinch, don't apologize, don't dim it down. God's hand is all over it. It's your time. It's your turn. You passed the test. Now comes the treasure. Not just the financial kind, but the soul kind. Peace like rivers. Joy like oil. Connections that heal. Platforms that elevate. Rooms that reflect your true rank in the spirit. You're not just stepping into wealth. You're stepping into wholeness, the kind that makes you walk different, talk different, show up with a glow that can't be faked. You'll walk into rooms and they'll wonder, who is that? And without saying a word, the atmosphere will say, that's someone chosen, that's someone called, that's someone crowned by God. You won't have to wear labels or shout titles. Your spirit will introduce you, and the world will respond accordingly. This is more than a season. It's a signal that God is raising up a remnant, people who were overlooked, underestimated, even mocked, but who never let the fire die. And now that fire is lighting up the world. You're part of that remnant, the chosen. the called, the uncommon. You've been set apart, not set aside. And everything you went through has positioned you for this. The millions are coming, but even greater than the money is the mission it funds. And you're ready now, truly ready. You didn't survive all that pain just to return to ordinary. You didn't walk through fire just to blend in. Everything in your life has been leading to this revelation. You were never meant to be hidden forever. Heaven didn't invest all that oil in you for you to stay in the shadows. Your wilderness had a purpose. Your isolation had a reason. God was making you unmissable for the moment when the spotlight would finally find you, not for your ego, but for His glory. And now, that light is here. You are the one He's chosen to shine through. You're not just going to influence others with your story. You're going to change them. Your words will carry the kind of authority that makes demons tremble and destiny awaken. People will encounter you and feel like they've just stood in front of a mirror that showed them who they really are. That's because your journey carved you into a messenger, not a preacher behind a podium, but a warrior who walks through real-life flames and still speaks life. You didn't just survive for yourself. You survived for the ones coming behind you. That's why your season of millions is more than a financial elevation. It's a spiritual assignment. You're about to be trusted with what most would misuse. Because you know what it's like to have nothing but faith. You know how to be content without comfort, how to trust when there's no sign. And that is why you can now be trusted with overflow. Not just for status, not just for comfort, but for impact. Your hands will build things that bless generations. Your ideas will spark movement. Your voice will unlock imprisoned minds. You're not here to impress. You're here to awaken. And now, your very existence will be a prophetic sign that God raises up the humble. That the rejected are often the ones selected. That what the world calls last, God often calls first. So don't expect people to understand how fast things shift for you now. Don't expect them to be ready. You're moving into a rhythm that's synced with heaven, not with human opinions. They won't see it coming, but you did. You felt it in the pit of your soul before it ever showed up in your bank account. Because chosen ones don't need confirmation from the outside to move. They move by the whisper of the Spirit. And right now, that whisper is turning into a roar. You're stepping into a season where everything accelerates. Dreams that were on pause are being pressed into motion. Vision boards are becoming lived realities. You won't even have time to doubt. That's how fast the blessings will hit. It'll feel like divine whiplash, but you'll be ready. Because God doesn't bless the version of you that plays small. He blesses the version that believes. Believe you are the one. Believe the door is opening. Believe the funds are released. Believe the calling is activated. Because you believing is the trigger. Your faith is the access code. Every time you choose faith over fear, you unlock another realm. Every time you take a step forward, you prove that God chose the right vessel. And each step now will echo through eternity. Your obedience won't just change your life. It'll shift atmospheres, open territories, heal families, and break chains. That's the power of being chosen. You weren't picked to fit in. You were designed to disrupt, to carry answers, light, vision. And now, that weight is increasing. Not to crush you, but to crown you. Your capacity has expanded. Your shoulders are stronger. You've learned how to carry glory and still stay grounded. That's why the millions won't destroy you. They'll amplify you. Not into ego, but into greater effectiveness. Every dollar will have a direction. Every connection will be divine. Every opportunity will align with purpose. And while others chase the spotlight will find you because of the light you carry. People will wonder how it all happened so suddenly, but you'll know. You'll remember the seasons of silence, the days of just enough, the nights of crying out, and it'll humble you. It'll make you grateful, because you didn't manipulate your way here. You yielded, and in that yielding, you gave God room to show out. And now He's doing just that. He's overwhelming you, not with stress, but with favor. Favor that brings you to rooms you didn't apply for. Favor that puts your name in mouths you've never met. Favor that builds what your bloodline has never seen. You are the one. The chain breaker. The curse reverser. The first millionaire in your family. Not because of greed, but because of God's purpose. He needed someone he could trust. Someone who wouldn't hoard the harvest, but multiply it. Someone who wouldn't just make a name, but make impact. And you've proven, through every trial, every loss, every lonely road, that you are that someone. The world tried to tell you otherwise. Life tried to crush you, but you kept rising, kept believing, kept surrendering. And now you are stepping into the reward season, not by accident, not by chance, but by destiny. This moment was written for you, and not even your past can cancel it. God has the final say, and He's saying now. Now is your time to rise. Now is your time to shine. Now is your time to walk in everything you cried for, prayed for, suffered for. You're not late. You're right on time. This is your divine alignment. This is the breakthrough that confirms you weren't crazy for holding on, that every delay was actually protection, that every detour had destiny built into it. And now, all roads are leading to overflow. So walk boldly, step fully, speak clearly, move in power. The heavens are open. The gates are wide. The harvest is ripe. You've passed the test. You've been purified. And now, you've been positioned for the millions, for the mission, for the miracle. It's all yours now.